Hey, what's up, fellas? Mike from Tech359, and let's do a show on goggle cameras. Reason why we haven't come out with a show on goggle cameras is because I've never found one that I personally liked enough to recommend to everybody. You know, goggle cameras are a major investment. Okay, they're expensive. The software that you'll need to buy on top of the hardware and stuff like that, it's not cheap. So I never wanted to do a show on goggle cameras until I found one that I was really happy with. After, god damn, I don't even know how many cameras we've bought. I've got a whole toolbox full of them. I'm not even kidding. I finally found something that I feel is worthy of putting in a Tech359 show and recommending to you guys. The videos that you guys saw with when I was playing down at Extreme Rage, down in Miami, all those night cam videos that I did. A lot of people are really happy with the quality on that. You got to understand with goggle cameras, or even gun cameras for that matter, there is really no good place to mount a camera on a paintball player. Okay, it just doesn't exist. Okay, everybody's a critic, and I definitely appreciate the feedback. Everyone's like, well, why don't you mount it on the left side? Well, what happens if I pop out the right side of my bunker? Well, then mount it on the right side. What happens when I pop out the left side of my bunker? Why don't you mount it on your hopper? Well, if I mount it on my hopper and I tilt it behind the bunker, well, then it disappears. Well, why don't you mount it to the left side of your gun? Well, what if it, there is no good place to mount a paintball gun on a paintball player. Okay, it's a game of tag. Okay, if anything is sticking out and you get shot, you're out, and that includes the camera. So, but I found something that that I want to recommend, and I'm going to show you guys how I set it up. Okay, a problem also with mounting it on the mask. You got to find a light enough camera that isn't going to, slam your, you don't want to have a beta cam on top of your head that's going to slam it off the top of your head. And also, you also have to have it as a combination with the mask, a mask that's going to stay on your face at all times with the additional weight of the, the camera that's on there. I found that combination. Let's talk about the camera first. The camera that I've been using is a Contour HD. It's made by a company called VHoldr, VHOLDR, and they believe they retail for right around about $230 to $300, somewhere around there. Let's go ahead and take this one out of the box. It's a brand new one, and it's kind of a little bit of like a Rubik's Cube when you take it out of the box. But this is the unit right here. And it's actually really light. It really is not that heavy at all. Even with the battery and the memory card in there, it's not that heavy of a camera at all. It's got great packaging. And probably about the only gripe that I have with a lot of the cameras that are coming out nowadays is they're all recording in .mov, which is pretty much Apple's format. Now, if you have an Apple, more power to you. I don't. I have a PC. But the only software that I've found that renders it really well, and I'm sure there's other ones, is the Adobe Premiere Pro renders MOV files really, really well. And there's special settings. You may want to do some research on putting it on YouTube, because there's specific settings for YouTube's encoders to get it on YouTube in true high definition. So, inside the box, it's got the memory cards, it's got some accessories and stuff like that. Now I'm going to show you how I mounted it on my goggles. Just set that aside here. Inside here you got the USB cable, which is pretty much used for charging. You've got the battery. You've got this particular goggle strap, which actually didn't work too. I tried putting it on a JT and it didn't seem to work that well. It says it's a goggle strap, but I'll show you a better way to mount it. The battery, it's got a nice little instruction manual. It's very easy to use. Now here's what I did. Let's get into how I mounted this on the the goggle. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. This particular attachment right here, which it attaches. It uses kind of a weird rail system. Okay, and you'll have to actually go and take a look at the accessories for you to see exactly what I'm talking about here. But this one right here, I believe this is called their flat surface mount. This is how I actually mounted it onto my goggles. Now you can see here on my goggles, let's zoom in a little bit more. you can see here on the goggles how it's mounted right here to the strap. The strap that, you know, the little pieces of the strap that mount into the mask. I've got one on each side. I've got one on the left side. As you can see it kind of sticking out right there. And then I've also got one on the right side with the camera already mounted on there. Now what I did was I took this piece here. Now it has a piece of double-sided tape. I removed the double-sided tape completely, so I just had the plastic right here. Then what I did was I went and bought Loctite plastic epoxy. Okay, so I went and bought this stuff. This is Loctite plastic epoxy. I believe I paid $8 for this at Home Depot. And then what I did was on the side of the Proto Pro axis, once again, you know, I mean, if they can't make this mask good enough, on the Proto Pro axis, you've got this nice little flat surface right here on both sides of the mask. This is what you use to remove the lens out of the gun, and also the frame and stuff like that. These nice little flat surfaces. What you'll do is you'll put a nice dollop of that plastic epoxy right here on this, and you'll basically cover this up. Then what you'll do is you'll take your flat surface mount, okay, and then you'll glue it right there. Now you're going to need to let this sit for at least 24 hours, okay? You don't want to put this on Saturday morning then run out in the field, you know, Saturday afternoon, okay? You need to do this, you know, early in the week when you have plenty of time. Now what I do recommend is when you glue this, you want to make sure that you have your mask in a place like a shoebox, or maybe even an old box of paint or something like that with like a towel in it so that it does not move around. You want to make sure that this stays as flat as possible, so when you glue the surface mount to it, you can just let it sit there and let it sit for at least 24 hours before you put any stress on it. So it'll, after about probably 30 minutes, it's going to be pretty firm to the touch, but just let it sit for 24 hours so that you have the full strength. $250 camera, you don't want it falling off when you're out there on the field. So let this sit. And then you can buy an extra mount if you want to also mount it on the left side of your face, or the left side of your goggle over here. Now originally back about a year and a half ago when I first started TechPB, I was not really that interested in mounting anything to my mask, because at the time, there was no cameras that were out there at the time that I felt were light enough to, you know, the style of play that I play, that, you know, that my goggles weren't going to slide down. These actually, I've had them on my face, and also I've put them on with my goggle fan, and it's not that heavy on the head. I mean, as a matter of fact, you very quickly forget that it's even on your face. So, a great little camera system, and I've had really good success with it. And probably one of the best things about the Proto Pro axis is that you get a little bit of toe in with the goggles, how the strap clips here hit the mask. You actually get just a little bit of toe in, and it actually works to your advantage, because when you have the gun in your hand, okay, when you have the marker in your hand and you're aiming it, typically you're kind of looking down and away. You know, your nose is pointing down here when you're looking out of your barrel, but that little bit of toe in wraps the camera right down the side of the barrel. So it works out really, really well. Let me see if I can zoom in here. There we go. So as you can see, the camera sticking out around the gun, and you can see that it's sighting right down the barrel. Now something else that's really cool about the V-Holder, the Contour HD, is that it actually has, when you turn it on, it's actually got lasers that actually help you align it. So let's give that a chance to turn on here. I don't know if you'll be able to see that on me. Let me hit the button again. There you go. Hopefully you can see that. Let's zoom in here. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, there you go. So you can see the lasers that are on here. What that really helps out with is aligning your mask perfectly. Now you can adjust it up and down and point it, up or down, depending on how you generally are out there playing. But the lasers that are on this thing really help align it, and also you can rotate it slightly too. So if you're, if you're usually like this, you can rotate it Just a great little camera unit. They did a great job designing it. So hopefully that helps. You know, pick up if you're looking for a really good goggle camera right now. I can't say enough good things about the Contour HD. Take it, take the flat surface mount, epoxy it to the side of a Proto Pro axis. Give it 24 hours to sit. You'll have to you'll have to adjust the up and down with with the clip so that you get it lined up perfectly. But you can do that without the glue. So as you can see, you can adjust this without the without moving the mount. Once the mount's in place, you can adjust this. I mean, you can mount it. You can mount it pretty much straight up if you wanted to, straight forward if you wanted to. It's up to you. So that's about it. Hopefully that helps. Thanks for tuning in.